Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of With the Waves. If you're new here, I'm Gianna. I started this podcast to kind of remind people that your life is not going to have a set path. Like, you're going to go through so many ups and downs, and this is nothing new, but it's always good to have a reminder that everything happens for a reason, and like, you go through certain things for a specific reason. And I personally need to remind myself that, so that's why I started this podcast. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thanks for listening. But yeah, today is an episode about kind of being in, like, not being in the know. You're kind of just like, some of you may have your next steps. Congratulations, I'm so proud of you. Others of us may not. For example, it's kind of like we're in your 20s and your 30s are supposed to be your most tested decade of your life. And I genuinely hope it's the most tested decade of my life, so I'm not having this moment when I'm like 50, almost halfway through my life, like more than halfway to my life. I wouldn't say this is a quarter life crisis, but it's more so just like a, what are we doing, you know? Like so today I'm kind of gonna talk to you guys about why we have these moments, why it's okay to not have everything figured out, how you may be feeling, kind of not normalizing it, but just saying it's okay to be lost. Like, there's no need to have your life figured out. And then we'll kind of talk through it and like how to maybe surpass that. So right now, if you're in college, you might be thinking to yourself, like, where am I going to be in a year? What's my life going to look like past graduation? You're going to be tested. That's for sure. You're going to be like, what's going on? The reason I feel like we're kind of in this, or I'm kind of in this era right now, is because I'm genuinely sitting here. I'm doing this. I find myself very involved within the media, very involved, and not necessarily like what's going on in the media, but just like the background of it all. Like, I genuinely enjoy the camera work. I enjoy like the technical background of it all. And I know what I enjoy, but it's more so just, I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life, because I'm so scared that if I do what I love most and it turns into work, I'm never going to enjoy it again, and it's going to be more of an aching feeling than it is like a great feeling when I'm like finished doing a project or something like that. So I'm kind of sitting here like, okay, how will I just don't know what route to take. Like, people usually have an idea of like where they want to do, what jobs they want to take, all that jazz. And so when I'm just sitting here like, okay, what next? And that's like scary. Usually when we graduate college, we're like, okay, we're just like go through any change in our life. We're like, okay, when is it, like, I don't know. I think to myself, like, I'm trying to be my best self. I'm not my best self right now. I'm not at all. I could always be better. And I think that's the main goal in life. Is like, recently I had an interview and he asked me, like, the director or whatever asked me, like, what motivates you in life? What keeps you pushing? And I sat there and I was like, I can always be better. Like, I never feel like anyone reaches their best self. Like, you're always learning. That's my mentality. I never think like, oh, I'm good now. Like, I've made it. I don't really, like, I just need a job. There are some people that are like, I just need an income. I need to do this and that. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think you're ever going to be your best self. Like, me personally, like, right now I'm like trying to do things and figure out what makes me my best self. And I'm scared I'm going to like lose myself and I'm going to lose like who I really am in the process. Like, I genuinely just don't, like, I'm always searching like what makes me better when I'm not really searching for like how I can just fix the things that I find myself like not enjoying about myself to be better, if that makes sense. Like, I just sit there and I'm like, all right, let's do this and that, while I'm not like kind of engaging in like who the person I am already. And this is like normal. This is so normal. We're transitioning into literal like real life now. Like, it's been real life since we were 18, but like, this is like, you got to get your shit together. And that's sad, because like, do I find myself actually having a corporate job from now going forward? Like, I don't know. So many people choose like non-traditional lives, and I'm just wondering, like, is that maybe the route I'm gonna take. Like, there's so many ways of living life, and I sit here like, do I want to go the 9-to-5 corporate job? Like, this transition is like needed. Like, everyone needs a transition in their life where they're kind of stumped on themselves. They're like, what's going on? Why am I being tested? Like, why can't I just sit here and like have my next step figured out? That's not how life works. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. If it was easy, but it isn't easy. Life is just overwhelming in general. Like, right now we're living in a period of life where it's just like, why? Like, why? We're living in a period in our lives where it's like, how can we keep living when things around the world are happening? Like, why? How can you just be happy and like certain and like hard on yourself and questioning like, why isn't life working your way when like so many other people are going through so many harder things? I understand that it's not my fault. Like, especially me. So right now I'm sitting here like, I can't get a job. I can't do this. I can't do that. And it's not me specifically, like, for the job market. It is our government. The way that I'm like doing research, I'm like, okay, I can't be the only one like struggling right now. Like, I am confident in what I do. I'm confident that I can excel in certain things and execute a project that I need to do that is certain, if it's writing audio or camera work or production or anything. And so it's the fact that I can't even get inside the door. Like, I was getting asked, they're like, oh, like, are you gonna get your master's? Are you gonna go to grad school? And I was like, no. And they're like, why? That was such a quick response. I was like, I don't think it's smart these days. Like, depending on like what you want to do, if that has like a doctor, a PhD, whatever, schooling is necessary. But in my job market, all I need to know is a face. All I need to know is a connection. And that they trust me and that I can like get my way into the door. Because all you need right now is a way into that door. I sit here sometimes and I'm just like, if only I was a Nepo baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, if only I had those connections. I'm just playing. But it's just like, you really need to start contacting people in that industry and wait till someone like knocks back on your door and is like, hey, come in, like, let's hang, let's talk, let's figure out what you yourself find yourself doing in the near future. And I'm sitting here waiting for someone to just like tell me what to do. I'm waiting for them to be like, all right, do this, do that, do this, apply for that, make your resume look like this. And at the end of the day, like, yes, it's helpful to have those connections, but no one's going to tell you how to live your life. Actually, if you ask people how to live your life, you're most likely going to get the wrong answer. You genuinely know what to do with your life. You're just like kind of scared with that gut feeling. You're like, okay, like I know it's going to be scary. And most likely the most scariest jumps are going to be the best jumps. But of course, like, you live in a life that you need. It's like you're going to need quote unquote stability. What if that stability literally causes you have the most unstable mentality? A lot of the times in this, like, again, mentality is a thing. And like in this moment of my life, I kind of noticed like, I fear I might have anxiety, like crippling anxiety, especially at night when I'm falling asleep and I can't seem to let my eyes close. It's a thing, and I hate it because I'm unwinding. I'm feeling good. I'm reading my book. I had my nighttime tea. I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, let's get into it. And it's not like a lot of people think I'd be reading smut here and there, of course, but at the end of the day, I'm reading like a typical, okay, you know what, actually, it might be because I'm reading a psychological thriller. I think I just need to read like Pride and Prejudice or just some regular schmegular book, because again, if it's a engaging book, I might not fall asleep, so that might be one of the problems. But regardless, when I'm reading, I get tired, like my eyes start to strain, and so I'm like, all right, time to put down the book. I just like check the time on my phone, because sometimes I'm like, oh, like how much did I overread, because sometimes I'd be reading for an hour, but I don't read that fast, so it's like kind of surprising to me. Regardless, so I just sit on my bed and I'm like, okay, like time to go to bed, whatever. The vibes are good. I'm just like chilling, put my head on the pillow, and I'm like, all the thoughts start flushing in. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. I start using my inner voice. I kid you not, I don't think during the day. Like, I do, but I don't think like I do at night. And it's because way back when one of my friends was like, it's because like you're in the dark and like there's no one around you, so your thoughts just start wheeling in, and it's like you're in your own personal space. And 100% agree. But it's like at this point I'm like, all right, I'm sick of this shit. It's been happening for over a year now, and it's at its all-time high because I'm in the situation I am right now. And it isn't even a situation. Like, I'm not in a bad predicament. It's just like frustrating because I can't even get a part-time job. Like, the amount of jobs I have walked into and called into and applied to online that are part-time are Def can count on, can't, like, it fills my toes and my fingers. Like, that time, like, it surpasses. So 20 amount more. And it's just like, respectfully, like, I'm not getting paid more than minimum wage, which is $14.35. And I live at home, so it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't need that much. I don't need to be making that much money now because of the situation I'm in, which is like just living at home with my family, and like food's paid for, rent's paid for. I'm still on their insurance. So it's like, I really just want to make money for myself. And like, so if I do end up getting a job somewhere else in a different state, I can't afford to live there. I was thinking today, I was telling my mom, I was like, hypothetically, if I had to move out and live in a different state and the average rent was $1,500, I would have to ask you for a loan, which respectfully, like, they would, because very nice of them. But I genuinely, like, I'd like have to have a loan. I'd be like, they would pay for first and last month's rent, and I'd pay them back like maybe after a year, because hopefully with the job I have that's out of state would be paying me close to $70K, but only a girl can wish. Regardless, back to my thoughts. So it's like, it's giving me a hard time to sleep at night. Like, I just genuinely can't close my eyes. So then I'm stressing, and my anxiety's at an all-time high. My heart's racing. And like, even with melatonin, even with the hardest sleeping pills, I still can't go to bed. And it's because I'm like overthinking my like life. And I wish I didn't. I wish my mom picked a different daughter, not thought. Like, I am thinking to ends meet. Like, I am probably the reason. I don't even know who the thinking God is. Anyways, it's just like so irritating, because you sit there and you're like, you know, it's all part of the plan and you just gotta trust, but it's so difficult to trust. Like, and there's so many people going through the same thing, so many people. So I can't just sit here being like, oh, it's all me. Like, I'm the only one going through this. I'm not. Probably close to 1 million people are going through the same exact thing. Of course I have, like, and this anxiety def comes just, like, from uncertainty. Like, I got a job interview back for, like, a place in Phoenix, and I just applied to, I got the email back, and it was like, hey, can you, like, enter a Zoom, whatever, or, like, pick a Zoom time, whatever. And I genuinely just sat there, and I was like, I literally was like, oh my God, I like can't, like, my heart sank, because I was like, should I stay in Arizona? Should I make this decision right now? Like, I was like, I'm glad I'm getting an interview back, but it's just like, one, it was for a nonprofit agency. I was like sussed out. It wasn't going to pay good, and I don't even want to be a part of an agency. But at the same time, it's like, should I just take the job, and I can always leave in like a couple months? Like, Arizona has an at-will quitting law. And so it's like, I don't have to. And I know it's like important to make the mistakes now. Like, you should make your mistakes now, especially since we're so young. Like, people will be like, oh, she's just in her 20s. Like, this always happens, like, in that decade. Like, it would make more sense now instead of me being 40 and it's like, girl, I think I'm just scared, like, if I make the wrong decision, it'll just take me a way longer to get back up, especially since I'm already having, like, such a hard time right now. And it's, like, okay to question these things. Like, who knows where I can end up? What if I move to, like, Minnesota? I don't know. I do need to move to the greenery, though. I look outside my window right now, and all I see is palm trees. Those aren't even real trees. They don't give shade. They don't give nothing. I don't even have a shrub outside in my backyard. It's just so plain outside. The air feels dry. It's like you're walking in an air fryer. I don't know. It's just a lot to think about. And it's okay. Like, you have, at least, like, I'm so contradictory. Because I'm like, and it's hard to think about, but at the same time, it's like, you should be grateful you're able to use your brain like that. Like, you should be grateful that you're able to just sit back and understand your thoughts and, like, why you think a certain way. And, like, yes, it's important to realize, like, gratitude is so big in my life right now. Like, yes, if my family is listening to this, I may be a wee bit of an attitude girl recently. My tude's just been at an all-time high. I don't know why, but regardless, I've had very much gratitude this past month, just because it's like, when I get out of my bed, I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, fuck, like, I have to do all this shit today. Like, and I'm like, okay, no, I get to go for a workout. I get to go apply for jobs. I get to use my fingers. I get to use, like, when I'm applying for jobs, I get to use, like, my feet. I get to set up this tripod and lighting and cute little aura. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but last week's episode was very much, like, very abrupt and up close, and it made me feel vulnerable. No, I'm just kidding, but it made me feel weird. I was like, oh. I was like, why am I so close? Like, you see my pores. And I've been trying to do a little face cleansing. Regardless. So I added the little aura lights because I feel like it's very much me. It's like, okay, aura's everything. Have a good aura. Some days you could have bad aura. I've been there, done that, mess around. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like, I wanted to do this, and I feel like it's a better vibe. I like it. I'm also on this side. I felt very vulnerable with my bed showing. I don't know. That was weird. I was like, I don't want y'all to see where I sleep. Anyways, but in this time, it's like, you're not only having, like, job insecurity, you're having your, like, insecurities in yourself. And it's like, for me personally, I'm like, again, I wanted to be my best self. I'm like, okay, so how do I fix the brightness in my face? Like, I just wanted to start glowing, like, internally out. Like, when I see some people, I'm like, wow, their aura is just everything. And they could also be having problems, like, who knows? But personally, for me, it's like, yes, I may be showing that illuminating cream. I'm using Elf, if y'all don't know. Their bronzing drops. It's actually really great. But genuinely, like, I want to, like, start waking up in the morning and being like clarity. Like, I just want to, I'm kind of in a brain fog recently, and like, sometimes I just don't want to speak because I'm like, I don't know how to pinpoint my words. Like, thank God for editing in this place, because sometimes I be rambling, and you can hear it. Like, sometimes if you guys are listening, like, let me know. Like, you guys can probably hear certain like, I'm just, like, rambling, and it makes sense to my mind, but then when I'm editing, I'm like, oh God. But yeah, like, back to it, it's like, you have job insecurities, you have, like, just, like, outward insecurities, emotional insecurities, and then also, like, relationship insecurities. Like, for me personally, my sister's like, oh my God, you should go out, like, this, and I'm just like, yes, but I do have, like, good amount of friends here. Like, I have, like, a good close to 10, I don't know, but it's just, like, a lot of my friends moved away, and, like, I used to live with my friends, so, like, even just sitting in the living room with them was enough, like, community for that day. Like, I was just sitting outside in, like, the living room, like, and we would watch, like, a couple episodes, and I'd be like, all right, like, see you guys later. Like, that was hanging out for me, even though I genuinely probably didn't even leave the house that day. But, like, today, like, with my, like, or not today, but just, like, now, like, with my family, it's, like, definitely different, because, like, family's everything. Like, I love my family, but again, you need friends. It's friends and family, and I just haven't seen them in a little bit, which is a-okay. Probably 2 weeks. But, and then you start questioning. You're like, of course, like, as you grow, you make new friendships. You meet the fucking one, who knows? And it's like, if I do move to a new place, like, am I going to have the hardest time, like, making new friends? Like, I can't do this again. Like, I cannot. It's like, after moving back home and, like, kind of being in my space, it's like, I've kind of forgotten how to, like, enjoy the little things. Like, I've caught myself scrolling on social media till ends meet. Like, other than applying, I'm always on social media. Like, if that is, or always on technology. Like, I'm either watching a movie to, like, get off my phone, or I'm reading a book that's on my technology Kindle. Like, it's literally like an iPad, or I literally am applying to jobs. And so I've been just trying to figure out like things I enjoy that like I'm trying to find, instead of like technology and like social media being my dopamine, like I'm really trying to find things that are hobbies that can be my dopamine as well. And so I've been like walking, and that brings me dopamine, but I'm just like, I don't know what external things I like to do other than like this podcast that brings me dopamine, like, because I'm really trying to save my money, especially if I'm moving away. Like, I don't have the money to spend. Like, things cost money now. Just to do things cost money nowadays. Like, I love the idea of pottery. I would love to make pottery. Cost money. I just wish, like, that's why I want to move somewhere that you can have a hobby that's free. Like the three I don't even know what it's called, but it's like you have your work, you have your house, and you have a third like place to go. Nothing's free anymore. Like, you don't have that third place to go anymore. And so I'm just trying to find that third place that feels like good to me. But who knows? Like, I'm just really trying to be happy with myself again, if that makes sense. And again, like, going into college, I didn't go in at first for journalism. And so, like, in between my college career, I was like, is it worth, like, should I do journalism again? And so I was like debating on switching back to film and production, and I didn't. And now I think back to myself, I'm like, okay, like, if I were to want to get back into that, how? Couldn't tell you. And so now I'm kind of just stuck being like, people make career changes all the time. And so I know it's not difficult. I'm just like stuck. I'm like, how do I do that? How do I change? I just don't know who to talk to about those certain things. And again, so many people are going through this. Like, it's not just me. And that's why it's important to like share your stories and like be vulnerable. Because a lot of the times, like, I pass through TikToks and it's like someone sharing their story, and someone in the comments is like, thank you so much. Like, I thought I was the only one. Like, you're not alone. And so if you're feeling any type of anxiety or any type of just like questionability in life, I'm here, your parents are here, your friends are here, like, people are there for you. And if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Like, people might know I'm a really good listener. I do listen. I don't really have tricks and tips to help. I guess I do in a sense, because what is this podcast if it isn't like tips and tricks? I'd be like, here's a link, just playing. But like, genuinely, like, I do like to listen and like kind of just be like a friendly face to people and just like allow them to come and talk to me. And I think that's like what I do, kind of going back to what I was saying before, is like, if I go, like, I want to be that friendly face for people that like people can just come and talk to. I do have a RBF though, and I do need to fix that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm glad I, at least to the people who do know me, like, I'm someone who is approachable. And just for me, I did want to share some tips. I need to work on how like contradictory I am. But it's just like, when you're changing and having this problem, like, you kind of are questioning, like, how do I go about this? Like, I want to set some goals. Sometimes those goals are way too big. It's important to have big goals. Shoot for the stars. But you can't just like wake up one morning and be like, yeah, I'm running a marathon and run it that day. You probably can, but there's going to be some consequences. Like, again, like, start with some short-term goals. Like, run that 3 miles that day. Walk that day. Like, who knows? Practice self-love, like self-compassion. Like, you really need to be kind to yourself and recognize that this is the way life is. If you read books from the 1800s, 1700s to like podcasts today, everyone is going to tell you this is a path you need to take in life. Like, this is the bridge that gaps your 20s to your 40s. Like, you will have so many stories to tell after this decade of your life, because you're meant to be making mistakes. You're meant to be having that questioning in your life. And I'm just telling myself this: limit the social media exposure. It's just so funny because here I am about to post for this for this podcast, but it's like, you really need, like, social media is the killer of today. Social media is the number one reason people have anxiety, the number one because you're comparing yourself, you're questioning why you're not good enough, all these things because of social media. My mom used to tell me, like, oh, I didn't even know what Janice was doing, like, way back when. Like, whenever I saw her, we would catch up. Through social media, I know so many people are getting married. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't get a card from them. back in the like 17 or back in the 90s. Like, it genuinely is social media. And like, when you kind of step away from social media and the addictiveness of it all, you realize like it's not that big of a deal. And it's okay to just like realize like you are your own person and you have your own story and you're writing your own book. You can change the plot of your book. It's just like if you're willing to. Stay in your bed all day. There's your book. I said this last podcast, but it's a really important to emphasize, like, you are the writer. You are the person that makes your life. So if you want to get up and you want to change your life, you can. Get up right now and start living the life you want to live. Of course it's difficult. People are there for you. So start living with compassion. Start living with the idea that, yes, you will be making mistakes. You will probably fail. You will probably not win on your first try, and that is okay. It's better second times than third time's a charm. It really is. It is okay to have the feelings you're having. It's not fun to have the anxiety you're having. Just go outside for like 5 minutes. Just like breathe in the breeze. If you're in Arizona, take in the vitamin D, because it's actually really important, and that's why a lot of us have seasonal depression, is because we don't have sunlight or the UVs that we have right now. So just go out and tan for a second. Jump in the pool if you have one. Enjoy your surroundings. Like, genuinely look around and be like if you think to yourself like, oh my god, I have nothing to do, like, let me just state what I have. Oh, I have a treadmill in our room. Let's get up and go for a walk. Let's move that body. Let's have those thoughts that are reassuring, not the scary, crippling ones, but the ones that, you know, you can have. Or jump in the pool, tan outside, hang out with your family that's always outside of your room. Walk out of your room that you're always stuck in on that social media, and just enjoy what's like around you before, who knows when all of your family and like friends are gonna, like, who knows when the last time you're with your family and friends are. So really enjoy the now and stop looking forward and stop looking back, and just really have fun. So with that being said, have a great day, and don't forget to try to go with the waves.